Barbara.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. What's going on? How are you?
Hey, Jordan. So, Barbara,
Yep.
you're running for?
Yes, at the time I decided to do this, there was literally nobody who had stepped up and said they wanted to run. And I've just seen really strange things happen when that's the case, because then somebody who writes in, gets like 2 write-in votes, wins. And so I assumed that other people would step in as well, and somebody else has. So, certainly I'm going to put out yard signs and I'll do it. But, it's just, I would never have pulled papers, let's put it that way, to run against somebody. But it just seemed like a time to say, look, I have this experience. If it's useful, write me in.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I am. I certainly had not planned on doing this, but so.
Well, I'm excited for you. It's
Oh, thanks. Thanks. It's peculiar. There's the election on May 2nd, which is for the 2 3-year spots. And then there'll be a special election in June for the vacancy from Helen. So anyway.
That's pretty close. May 2nd.
It is close. So, needless to say, trying to balance it with my day job is, a little silly, a little crazy, but I'm doing the best I can.
Conquer the world.
Right. But thank you. I haven't met Tim yet, who's also running. Do you know him?
Who else is running?
His name is Tim Sayer. I don't know him. Jordan, do you?
The name sounds a little familiar, but I don't know him personally.
Jordan, we haven't met, I don't think, personally. It's nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too. I'm the seasonal deputy constable with the Shellfish Department. But right now I'm filling in for Nancy, who is on vacation.
Got it. So I hear, well deserved. But I know your name's on a lot of things out of the office. So I mean, I think of you as staff, So.
Awesome.
They're referred to as, Jordan's maps, Jordan's list. So you're well known.
I did do a lot of work on some landings maps during my AmeriCorps year when I was serving with the department. So
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I love the rights to public access. So
good. I know I haven't been on that long, but
I just meant like the concept of it.
Yes.
Growing up on Cape Cod, I never bought a beach sticker, and I always went to the beach on like the ways to water and things like that.
Right.
Because I grew up in Yarmouth,
Yep.
and we have a lot of little roads that are technically public access points. So
Right. Now
Yeah.
it's critical because a lot of land is changing hands and, changes to the shoreline, and they could disappear,
yeah,
That's the issue.
yeah. There's actually one that's one of my favorite ways to water in Yarmouth is under contention right now because someone just bought the property adjacent to the access. So I hope it doesn't go away. I've been tuning into all the meetings. I'm
Right.
like, oh, I love this one.
Right. So, is it John or Steve who said they couldn't make it?
John can't make it, but I thought Steve was going to come.
Okay. Got it.
And I'm not sure either, since Sonia is no longer one of our members, we now have a total of 4 members. So maybe you and me is a quorum. I'm not sure. I don't know how this works.
I've seen it done both ways. I think technically we're not a quorum, but there's also something called the rule of necessity, where if there's something really dire and it's the only way the board needs to act and it can act, that you can do it for really specific kind of emergency purposes. But
Okay.
for purposes of a regular meeting, I think we don't have a quorum. We just need another member, so. Does Nancy ever send photos of herself vacationing?
She hasn't sent me any yet. I know she doesn't have access like to her phone
Got it,
network
okay.
stuff. But she has been monitoring her email as
Okay.
Nancy does.
Okay.
So
Just
I keep
because-
telling her, I'm like, stop looking at your email.
Yeah.
Look at Italy.
Exactly. It would just be nice to see a beautiful photo of Italy with her
I
in
know.
it. So,
I'm sure she'll have a whole bunch when she comes back. I'm very excited. She's also supposed to be bringing me some candy.
nice. That's good. I took a vacation for a week and I didn't look at my emails for a week. It was spectacular. So,
I've been like trying not to watch my email in the off season, but they have the rec catch sent to my email. So I like can't help myself because, you know, I see some names of people that I know and we've talked to when I'm out on the flats and I'm like, oh, how are you?
right.
I miss
Right.
you.
So, do we have a phone number for Steve? I think I just have his email. Wait, you're muted. Wait, you're muted.
So Steve just told me that he's coming on.
Okay, good.
I think he's sick.
Oh, no, okay.
The allergies have been so bad lately. So bad.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling me, Melissa. I was kind of zoned out.
No,
Are you sick, Steve?
I had a cold yesterday that brought me pretty low. I'm
Oh,
getting
sorry to
better.
hear.
Getting better.
Well, thank you for coming.
no, now we have a quorum,
Okay, good.
so Call of Duty, so. Who's chairing?
You are.
I
I
am.
thought you were, yeah.
Okay, sure. So you're right. That's why I did the agenda. Okay, so we're already recording, and we'll call to order the meeting of the Rights of Public Access Committee. Today is April 7th, 2022. We'll start with member introductions. I'm Barbara Carboni, member.
Melissa Yao, member.
Aye.
Steve Blanchard, member, and we also have with us Jordan from the Shellfish Department here on behalf of Nancy and on behalf of the department. So the next item is public comment, which is the time for any member of the public who would like to raise a topic that could be addressed at a future meeting of the committee, not a topic to be discussed at this meeting. So if there's any member of the public who wishes to make such a comment, this would be the time. Seeing and hearing none, no public comment, we'll move to approval of the minutes from the committee's February 3rd and March 10th meetings of this year. So did everyone have a chance to review the minutes and have any proposed changes?
Did you get the changes that I submitted?
I did. They're in my email, and I was going to input them after
Okay,
here. Although if you want to, just so that it's kind of on the record, do you have it in front of you now, just so we can vote on them as approved? If not, I can dig up the email.
I think you'd better do it.
Okay, I'll do that right now. Hang on.
They're all minor changes.
Yep, they were. Okay, so on the March 10th minutes, the comment is there's a place where Audubon was misspelled, so I will correct that. And then a place where RPAC was misspelled, so I'll correct that. And then question came up of whether resignation rather than departure would be the proper term for Sonia's no longer serving on the committee. So I'd be happy with resignation. I don't have a thought. Departure was just the word I used, but I'm happy to change that. So those were the 3 proposed changes in the minutes of March 10th. And then if there are no corrections to the February minutes, I think we can vote on both of them at once, if that's okay.
I had some corrections for the February one too, but I
Oh,
don't.
you did? Oh, I'm sorry. Hang on.
Keep digging in your email there.
Yep, sorry. Hang on. Steve. Oh, you're right. Sorry, February 3rd. In the 3rd line, there is a 3 missing. So I'll correct that. And then in the 2nd paragraph of the Heron Road item, the spelling of Mark Borelli was provided and noted that he's the Director of Coastal Processes and Ecosystems at Cape Lab. Then in the 4th
And
paragraph,
you had his name misspelled.
yes, name misspelled. Then the 4th paragraph of the Heron Road item identifying Nancy Vale as the Wellfleet assessor. And then under next meeting, there was a misspelling of the word next. So I will make all those corrections and additions. Thank you for reading them carefully.
Okay,
So is there a motion to approve the minutes of February 3rd and March 10th with the corrections just noted?
so moved.
Second.
Okay, Barbara, I.
Steve, aye.
Melissa, I.
So the minutes are approved and I'll make those corrections and get them into town hall. So next item, I have too many browsers open. So the next item is the puddle and the Mass Audubon's application to conservation to take action on the puddle, and that hearing was March 16th. I did watch it later, but would anyone who might have been there like to summarize it?
I couldn't make it.
Okay, so Steve?
Yeah, I was there.
Okay.
And they basically agreed to use sand to fill in with sand, as long as we didn't mess with the plants, with any of the weeds that are there.
Mhm.
Is that about it?
Yeah, I think there was some attention to it being a one-time application, and there was some discussion of whether they would be open to down the road revisiting it, and they didn't seem crazy about that idea, but they did approve this application.
Yeah.
For sand. So that was March 16th. So do you want to offer any comment, Melissa, just what that means for you and any other comment?
Well, I did watch the replay. Thank you, Steve, for being there. I appreciate it. I noticed that well, I think as it stands today, the puddle is not filled in, but you know, it may take some time. I think it might be appropriate for us to send a follow-up thank you. I know Steve sent an email, I think, right after, maybe the day after or something like that. But something from us collectively might be nice. I think that was a good initiative on your part, Steve. Or I think it'll be important to follow up with Audubon. Yeah.
So it's a letter to Audubon thanking them, or is it also, did you mean to the commission as well, or just Audubon?
Well, it might be smart to do both. I think separately, but you know, I don't really know where the Audubon's head is at right now. So I think, you know, it just might be nice to follow up. I don't really know if they're, because the next step is for them to decide to do it.
Oh, that didn't occur to me that they would not carry it out. So you're saying wait until they actually fill the.
I don't know how you guys want to do it. I just thought it was important that we express gratitude like Steve did, and you know, make sure they know that we are appreciative, and if they have any further questions, we're happy to discuss. You know, I think they have approval to carry this out. I don't know, you know, what they're thinking. I think they received quite a bit of pushback at the Conservation Commission meeting, and you know, it just following up to figure out what their thinking might be.
Right. No, I agree. Steve, do you have any thoughts on how to express thanks and when to do so?
Were you talking to me?
Yep, it's just, you know, just getting, if you had any thoughts on when and how to thank Mass Audubon and Conservation for this.
Yeah, the email that Melissa, well, actually, I don't know who got it. Did I send it to everybody? Anyway, it was an email to Melissa Lowe. And thank you, Mass Audubon, for successfully presenting our case before the Conservation Commission. One of their concerns was not disturbing the marsh grasses around the puddle. I have attached 2 photos of the puddle on October 11th, 2021 that show the puddle and the grasses. It seems there should be no problem filling the center of the puddle to provide safe passage and still have a little bit of puddle on either side to protect the grasses. That seems like a win-win. That was my email.
So Steve, that was just to her?
I'm trying to find it. I think
Okay,
it was.
I think that's, yeah, I think that's correct. So, okay, so, oh no, here it is. Yep, no, you did copy us. Okay, so I guess. Melissa, have you seen the email? I can
did.
screen. Okay, so do we think that's enough for now? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we don't have to do anything formal. Maybe I can reach out to Melissa Lowe and just touch base, see what she's thinking.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I defer to you both as you're, you know, closer to it and longer term relationships. So however you think it's best to handle. So, okay. Okay, do we have any other comment on this item, or can we move ahead?
You want to do,
No.
do something to the Conservation Commission also?
Oh, okay. Yeah, what do we think would be the right, would an email be sufficient?
Yeah,
think-
something small.
Okay. Eve, I hesitate to ask you if you're feeling unwell, but do you want to take that email, or Melissa, do you want to take that email and, you know, the one that Steve did already, and kind of tinker with it so it's appropriate to send to the Conservation Commission?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Melissa.
Okay, so you will send email. Okay, so you don't need to come back to us with it. You'll just go ahead and send it.
Okay.
So I guess, okay, thanks.
One more thing that John mentioned is it'll be important to monitor the puddles. So I think maybe we should, take some photos and record, I don't know, dimensions, something, so that we know where we are right now before anything happens.
Okay,
Is anybody up for that?
I can take photos. I don't have boots, so I can't measure.
we have to stick you back in the puddle. Oh, no, it was Sonia last time in the
It was
puddle.
Sonia, yeah, I wouldn't do it.
Well, whatever, I guess whatever you can, photograph, and that has some, that has some value.
What I'd like to do is photograph at one of the, what do you call them, Melissa, the high tides? King tides?
Yeah,
That would be interesting to see how far
yeah,
the water actually comes into the puddle.
right. At a high tide and a low tide.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll try and do that. I will do that.
Okay. Is it worth mentioning in the email to conservation that we'll be monitoring it? Or do you want to leave that out?
No, I think that would be good.
Okay,
Don't you, Melissa?
okay. So Jordan, any thoughts?
I'm just glad that you guys are able to move this project forward. Speaking from personal experience, I get nervous to go out to that section of the flats for fear of getting the truck stuck. So glad it moved forward. And I do think it's a good idea to reach out to both Audubon and just kind of see how they're feeling, and thank them for the hard work that they put into pushing this forward, and also thanking the Conservation Commission for their time, because they did hear a number of hearings about this subject.
Right.
Yeah.
Enjoy. Okay, thanks, Jordan. Sorry. I have a little coffee maker in my office, so that was one of my colleagues getting some coffee, so. So no, that's,
You're at work now, huh?
yep, this is my office in Truro Town Hall. So I punched out, punch the clock, and then I'll punch back in. So my husband still uses a punch card at the rink where he works. So one of the
Really?
few places that still does that.
Yeah, well, I remember doing that, but that was in the 70s.
Yep. Well, that's where he lives, is in the 70s. So, yeah. So, okay. So Melissa has the items to address in the letter. And Steve will take some photos.
Yeah.
And- okay, good. All right, moving on to the next item, Community Preservation Act funding potential. So that would not be for this year, but would be for the next cycle, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, my understanding of it is that we have to fill out an application and submit it to the CPC committee, and then it goes to town meeting. I'm not
Yep.
entirely sure.
Yep,
Okay.
yes. Yeah, they hear your application, all the applications. they make recommendations to town meeting and then it's voted on. And so I don't know exactly what the cycle is here for the CPC funding. But it's not lined up for this town meeting. So
Are you saying that it's too late for us to do it for this time?
yes, because I mean, even without knowing what the exact dates are, you know, they held a hearing in public where the applicants present it and then they make the recommendations to town meeting. Although, you know what, I'm assuming an earlier town meeting date. While we're talking, why don't I look on the website and just see if the town website and see if there's anything open? My guess is that it's too late. But hang on.
Was that public hearing held?
Hang on. 1 sec. Just looking up CPC. There's something on from 2014. I don't think that's it. Just looking at their most recent agenda posted is from January 26, 2022. And one of the items is CPC warrant articles for town meeting, which makes me think that
It's been done.
it's been done, but I can certainly talk to someone in town hall and find out, just find out what the next cycle is.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it has to be the next cycle, but a solid date for the deadline
Right.
would be great.
And so we would be requesting CPC funds to support surveying, mapping, preparing the low. It's not the low-lying roads, but it's the low-lying access places that will be affected. Was that the idea?
Yeah, I think surveying, I feel like Heron Point Road was a unique situation with the railroad being so drastically off from the paper road that surveying was necessary. I don't feel like surveying would really be necessary in a future circumstance, or at least, a common issue. But the main issue that I see that we would require funding for would be maintenance of our existing low-lying roads that are potentially, potentially private, but publicly used, because the town will address the town roads, but
Right.
this is the ongoing issue of the private roads that the public uses.
Right.
So, contributing to the maintenance of that, and then also some kind of funds for perhaps establishing a higher
Right.
access point.
Okay, so the CPC category that would fall under would be, open space and recreation. It's got to fit into one of the boxes under the statute, historic preservation, housing, and then open space and recreation. So would it be for maintenance of those areas, not survey, but maintenance of the areas? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. We might need to, and I'm happy to work on this, just to find out if it qualifies, because sometimes they do not. Projects that are for maintenance rather than acquisition are not always supported. So I can look into that and see if the project would qualify.
Yeah, my wife's been doing a CPC grant for Stockbridge, Massachusetts, and one of the people on that committee said never mention maintenance. You don't do
Wow.
maintenance.
Okay, all right, there you are. So,
Scratch that.
Well,
okay.
they're the other end of the state. It might be different here.
There is a database. There's this organization statewide of CPCs, which I'm sure your wife's been involved in, and they keep a database of CPC projects, and you can search the database to see for different types of projects or by location. The only warning is, though, just because it's been done doesn't mean it was necessarily done properly, but let me see what I can find that might come close to what's being proposed, and see if it fits, if there's a way to talk about it as not maintenance.
Okay,
Also with the low-lying roads discussion,
Yep.
that could factor into why maintenance might be more important in this area than maybe other areas for community preservation.
yep,
Right,
good point.
right. Okay, well, we certainly have time to, explore it if we're on a cycle where, January is when they were talking about articles. It's usually sometime in the fall. Mid-fall is when they start reviewing applications. So, okay, I can do some work on that. And then, is there anything else? Just think about if there's any other type of project that also might be, appropriate to ask for CPC funds for.
We've got some time to think about that.
Uh,
I mean, the existing project that we have with the boathouse, that would potentially be purchased with CPC funds. So depending on what the result of the town meeting vote is on what we submitted, then we could add that to our proposal for CPC.
Right, okay, that's good. All right, any further thoughts on CPC funding? If not, we'll move on to next agenda item, recruitment of new member. So in case anyone has any thoughts or wants to.
Yeah, I did quite a bit of work on my little corner. I just taken the top left corner of that spreadsheet, and I worked on it a bit, and I sent it to Rebecca, but I don't think she posted it. 'Cause, I couldn't find it, but I did the last couple of days. Is it there?
To post the vacancy?
I posted a PDF of the spreadsheet.
Oh, he's talking about the catalog.
Oh, okay. It looks like we're talking about two different things. So, all right, well, let's go to catalog then. Waste to the water. So Steve, you said you sent it to,
I sent it to Rebecca, asking her to post it wherever you post stuff.
yeah. I can look.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to do too.
Okay.
Would
So,
that, and where
will-
would that be? Would that be with the meeting notice?
if it was going to be a document available for the meeting today, it's usually those are with the link. Let me look as well.
I don't see it.
No, okay. So,
That's
well,
okay, because, sorry.
no, go ahead.
Steve, I got your spreadsheet, and I haven't had a chance to integrate it all.
Well, that was quite a while ago. I've done some more work since then. I mean,
Okay,
that was one I sent a month or so ago, right?
March 16th. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how to share screen, so I don't think I can do that kind of thing here. Maybe.
If it's in an email, I could open the email and share screen.
I didn't, well, I put it in an email to Rebecca. Let me see if I can find it
Okay.
quickly.
Yes, I will admit I have again been remiss in making my own contributions. Just gearing up for town meeting here, and now just other things going on, but I will endeavor to do my part.
Okay, I've got it. I have it up on my screen. How do I share it?
So at the bottom of
Share
the,
screen.
yeah,
Hmm. Gives me a bunch of different things
um,
to share. What are they? Oh, I
So at
see.
the bottom of the screen, do you see a
Desktop.
button that says share screen?
Yeah.
It should be lit up in green usually.
Zoom doesn't have right to get to that. Oh, okay.
Um,
How do I give Zoom the right to go to those files?
well, it's, so when you press share screen, it says you can't access them.
Yeah, and it says go to system preferences. That's where I am.
Oh.
I don't know. Doesn't say Zoom there. I don't know. Where are we? I don't know where we are.
Okay.
Anyway, it's not working. So
Okay, so if you want to email it to me, is that possible, or should we just,
yeah. Well, I'll tell you what I did.
okay, please.
I added 2 new columns under location.
Okay,
One called number and street.
mhm,
And that actually, if all you have is the map and the parcel, it's not much good with Google Maps. But if you have the street number and the street name,
right,
Google Maps will work.
got it. Okay, yes, I remember, I
Good.
think you brought that up before. That's good.
And I have added 3 columns for sea level rise with the dates 2030, 2050, and 2070, because those were the 3 dates that it was in that most recent report that from the meeting that was January, I think, or December maybe, on the town meeting on
Yes,
sea level rise.
right.
And they have a lot of information all focused on those 3 dates, 2030, 2050, and 2070. So I was putting in little comments like for the parking lot will probably be saltwater pond at 2050 or that kind of thing.
Okay,
And
Much
some of
predictive.
yes, but we do have those maps that were in that report, which show what's going to be inundated when. And then John sent out a thing from the Cape Cod Conservation Commission, was it? That had the map with the that showed sea levels for different years. Is that him? I think that's what he did. Anyway,
Mhm.
you have to just look at those things and then decide where those landings are going to wind up.
Hmm. You mean by just kind of eyeballing their maps and
Yeah,
kind
we
of
don't have-
overlaying it, at least in your head, where,
yeah, we don't have much other information unless we actually pay for a study that would include the roads. But then John's email seemed to indicate somebody from that study was talking about specific things. Does anybody have that handy?
I can look for the email. I'll just look for John. So it's an email from Ann Reynolds, GIS Director of the Commission. And it says, it has a link to the viewer and then the sea level rise viewer. Is that the one you mean?
Yeah,
So,
but she also, I think, in a paragraph of the email,
Yep.
talked about some specific
okay. So
Powers Landing is what she talked about.
right, so this is, you'd ask for elevation data for Wellfleet. Below is a screenshot of 1-foot topo at the Powers Landing site. Sorry. So she says data of this type is best analyzed with specialized software. If you're interested in a paper map, USGS quads are available online. So
So
what?
I
what do
did
we
follow
want to-
that link and look at some of those maps.
In here, the sea level rise viewer?
I looked at the
Oh, you
first,
did.
they both seem, I looked at the first of the links she gives, the one in the first paragraph. They both basically go to the same place. I didn't see any difference between them
Okay,
other than the name of the in the top left corner, the name of the organization that they were done for. So I think they did the same map and then just changed the name.
But does it provide us with the information we're looking for? About
Well,
what?
not in very much detail.
Okay,
I mean, there's no, on the street thing, they actually show, they narrow it down to 10 streets that are going to need to be worked
Yep.
on in 2030, 2015, 2070.
I saw
And
that.
they use the criteria of how much water is going to be there and how long, and whether the road is required by people to get to their houses,
Right.
criticality kind of a thing. And they mixed that together somehow and came up with a top 10. But of course, there are no town landings involved. So what we'd really like is the same report same kind of study to be done on our landings
Okay,
or access to the water. So I did kind of the first step by looking at those things and trying to decide. I did only a couple of them, 3 or 4 of the landings,
okay.
but let's see how many I did.
So she says in the email, data of this type is best analyzed with specialized software. Is that what, do you suppose that's what they did to create the low-lying roads one?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
What I did the gut and Fisherman's Landing and Sand Point, Sand Pullout,
Mhm.
and Powers Landing are the 4. And some of it's just a guess.
Okay,
But anyway, I filled that in, and Melissa, I can send that to you.
Okay.
So anyway, that actually was a pretty good way. When you look at that whole thing, there's just so many cells. So I just carved out some of the cells and 3 of the major areas. And if we each did that, it's not such a god awful project.
yeah, I would need some help. I would need some help with that, just somebody to walk me through how to do that. So at some point. Uh-oh.
Melissa, is it possible for you to just split it up into, for now, just 3 or 4 pieces that we could hand out?
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Well, let me send you what I did, and then you can see if it makes sense to carve the big sheet up into little pieces like I did for me, so that we can hand them out.
Okay.
So but this all is something information we want to put in these the new columns that you've created.
Yeah, well, all the columns.
Right, okay.
I mentioned the new columns I created because I thought they would be additional, good additions to the whole spreadsheet. And then others, for instance, I found what appeared to be an error in the Siberia report. One of the parcel numbers is wrong.
Steve, I feel terrible keeping you talking.
Well, okay, I'll
I
shut
feel
up.
bad about that. So maybe, I guess, just so we don't keep you, could we just have a couple final thoughts on this and just move through other agenda items? I just don't want to keep you.
I'll send mine to Melissa.
Okay,
You can work on it from there.
okay. Jordan, did you have thoughts? I see you're nodding.
Yeah, I would just love if Steve could send his version because I still have the old version from like January or December that has little to nothing filled in.
Okay.
Okay.
So Steve, you have Jordan's email to send that?
I don't. I think
Jordan,
I could probably find it's what?
Jordan, do you have a town email?
I do. I will put it in the chat box.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, just in the interest of not keeping Steve too long, let's go back to stop share. Okay, back to agenda. It's one of these mini browsers. Okay. The item that we just skipped over, recruitment of new member, vacancy from Sonia's resignation. So if anyone knows of people who might be interested in serving, let's try to find some people and recruit them or suggest to select board. If anyone has any names or thoughts.
It would seem to me the among the shell fishermen would be good.
Mhm.
Sonia was the shell fisherman,
Right.
and still is, and they have a vested interest in.
Melissa, do you know any likely candidates or unlikely candidates, someone who might be interested in serving?
Not really. Most shell fishermen can't make meetings,
Right.
and most shell fishermen don't want to deal with Zoom, which I think we could also consider for our next meeting, maybe possibly in person.
Sure. Sure.
I think Zoom is a big barrier for a lot of people.
Got it. Jordan, thoughts on people you might know?
I can't think of anyone off the top of my head, but I will communicate to some of the recs that I know live in town, the recreational shell fishermen that live in town. A lot of them are retired and may have
Yep.
the time to
Yes.
do something like this. So
Great. Okay. Just what is the policy these days for meetings? I know here in Truro, committees can meet in person if they want to. They've kept remote. Most of them continue to meet remotely just because of public participation, but with this committee, that's kind of less of an issue. So does anyone know what committees have been doing in town hall?
I think town hall is now open. And I don't know what other committees are doing, but if the point of keeping Zoom is to preserve the public participation, then maybe we could still meet in person, but also have a Zoom component if anybody wants to
Right.
join.
Yep.
But I think it might be a good time to do that.
I agree. I agree.
I don't know if it will happen, but I did see in a couple weeks, there is a select board meeting on the calendar that is set to be in person and virtual. I don't know if they'll actually do that. It is in 2
Right.
weeks from now,
Got
but
it. Okay, no, thanks, Jordan. I did see they held a meeting where they were interviewing for town administrator. They did that in person. So, okay, so I'll find out. That's right. Just confirm that we can do an in-person meeting.
Nice thing about Zoom is you have a recording, and go back over.
That is true. We could still record meetings, just have audio. That's
Well, we can still have Zoom.
true.
I mean, if people want to participate over Zoom, they can tune in there, and then whoever wants to be in person can be in person.
The few hybrid meetings that I've attended have been kind of unsatisfactory because not everybody has a microphone that's close enough. So the people that are
Yep.
remote have trouble hearing everybody that's in person.
Yeah, I've had the same experience. So why don't I ask at town hall what the options are and what experience? Well, you say there's one coming up in a couple weeks. So,
I mean, my preference would be Zoom. It just works nicely, and although I don't get to see anybody face to face, it works in terms of the meeting.
okay. Well, we're sort of on a slightly different item, I guess. Let's say we're on next meeting. We're now on next meeting date and topics, just as an agenda item. So do we what do we want to do then for next month's meeting? Do we want to just aim for a hybrid? Ask town hall if we can do a hybrid meeting, because I mean, I do see the value of meeting in person, but I certainly, want to have all our members be happy about the meeting format.
Well, I'll do a hybrid. I'm just saying, if I had a choice, I would
Okay.
choose them.
Okay, so first choice Zoom, second choice hybrid,
For me, yes.
right? Melissa,
My first choice would be a hybrid. I think Nancy's done a good job of making hybrid meetings in the Shellfish Shack. And it's worked pretty well. But anytime somebody speaks, you have to let the person know who's handling the computer, and then they raise the hand for you, and then you come up and you speak. So you can only speak inside the common room when you're at the computer and you're called to be there. I mean, I think in in-person meetings, conversations happen that not everybody can hear anyway. And like in the public space, if you're going to speak to everybody, you can come forward to the microphone.
right? Well, I guess we don't have to make a decision. For now, I guess I'll just find out what's available. So Jordan, you're saying in the shack, we could have a meeting there?
Historically, Nancy has hosted shell fishermen here for Shellfish Advisory Board meetings
Okay,
in kind of like a hybrid format, just so that people who are not so comfortable with Zoom could participate in the meeting.
okay.
I don't know if you could hold the meeting here. I don't want to say yes because
Right.
I think it's not in my power to say yes.
Got it. All right, so
Sorry, I just
no, I just, I want to get your input on everything. So for now, should I just find out what the options are from town hall about if we did hybrid, where that would be?
Yeah.
And we'll
That
figure it out by next month.
Hopefully town hall has some room someplace
Yeah.
to be set up for a hybrid meeting.
Yep, I mean, right, so I'll find out what that is. Do we want to try to figure out a meeting date or do that by email later?
Email works for me.
Okay, all right, let's do that in the interest of moving along. So the next item, plan for sea level rise. I can't remember what we were going to do on that.
One thing that John was very interested in is funding a study for anticipated changes in the sea level floor,
Right.
the floor of the harbor, basically. And I don't think that's in our bailiwick. We will get you to the water, but what happens to the bottom, that's somebody else's problem. That may be kind of selfish, but.
Melissa, your thoughts?
I agree.
Jordan?
I would also agree.
That means it might be on the shellfish advisory boards.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was thinking that might fall more under like marina advisory or natural resources advisory or shellfish advisory, but not the rights to public access. I don't think.
yeah, no, I agree.
But that's just one aspect of our,
Right.
but I think the other part is, tied in with what I did with that spreadsheet. For each of our access to the water, we have to try and figure out what's going to happen in the future when the sea level rises.
Right. So is that kind of folded into the ways to the water, or is there anything else that we think we need to do outside the catalog?
I think the catalog's a good start. I think John had said that he wanted to run with it on his own. So, I mean, we can wait until he comes back to us with whatever he comes up with.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, and the ways to the water has been studied for a long time. That Echeverria report what's the date on it? 1991. I don't even know how to pronounce it. It's Echeverria.
Echeverria.
So that was done, published in 1991. And then the Shellfish Advisory Board ran with that and came up with their list of and map of access points. And a lot of it was taken out of the Echeverria report. And now we've got another spreadsheet,
Okay,
which references back to the Echeverria report. That's one of the columns. So we've been looking at it for a long time, and anything we can do to move forward. I mean, it's something that I could do. I could perhaps split up the big spreadsheet into smaller pieces and then work out one at a time. I'm not, my computer's not good at doing something with 40 columns in it.
right.
But if I can get it in little pieces and then have somebody else like Melissa put it together.
That works for me. I mean, if you want to run with more
Okay,
areas around the harbor, go for it. I'm happy to help you put it together on the computer.
okay.
Make it into something.
I assume you're using Microsoft Office or Excel?
Yeah, you mentioned you weren't.
I'm not. I'm using Open Office, which poses some problems. So far, I haven't bumped into any, but it's usually like the fonts aren't there or whatever.
Yeah, well, I can handle that. Yeah, I mean, just
I mean,
gather
this
the
is a
information
simple,
first step.
it's a pretty simple spreadsheet. It's not like it's got a lot of complex, fancy stuff on it.
Yeah.
So I think we can handle it that way.
Yeah.
Or maybe I could break down and actually buy Microsoft Office. Ooh.
Yeah,
Maybe
go
we can
for
do a Community Preservation Act fund request for that.
Exactly, to fund Steve's Microsoft Office license.
Yeah.
So,
I'm wondering, so when we originally split this up, I had mentioned that I was going to ask Jordan if she could do Chipman's Cove. Would you be able to do that for us, Jordan?
Yes, I can.
Okay,
Uh,
thank you. Not to add to everything that you have to do with Nancy Gone, but
and you
these are
guys said
deadlines.
that you don't have a very strict timeline on this, correct?
Yeah, I mean, we're just filling it in as we can. This is a volunteer committee, so
If
whatever.
we don't get it done by 2030, there's gonna be one column that's smooth.
All right, no, that's good to know, because while I'm filling in for Nancy, I have like so much stuff to do, like whoa. But once I get back into my like regular position, I will definitely have time for that.
Cool.
So Jordan, you wouldn't like to join our committee, would you?
Unfortunately, I don't know the rules on town employees joining committees. And I also don't think that I have the time because I do have 2 jobs.
I know there's no prohibition in Truro. There's a ZBA member who works for the town, so, but that's here. Okay, so is there anything else we want to talk about for plan for sea level rise? Any other thoughts, comments? All right, if not, for next meeting and date, I'm going to circulate an email, topics, let me know topics, and I can put together an agenda. I'm going to find out.
Are you gonna be the chair at the next meeting?
Oh,
I think it's my turn.
oh, okay, so Steve, okay, sorry, Steve.
So then I'll do all that stuff.
Oh, great, okay, thank you. Sorry, I wasn't trying to use.
I thought you might like that.
Thank you. No, I wasn't trying to usurp.
I know you are.
So sorry, I just wasn't thinking. All right, so just before we adjourn, I just want to give the list of things that I know I'm going to take care of. I'm going to make corrections to the minutes and turn them in. I'm going to look into just what the CPC schedule is and a little research on eligibility of the project that was discussed for CPC funding. And I'm going to find out about options for the format of the next meeting, hybrid, and where it would be held. So I think, and then Melissa was gonna do a thank you email, type email to commission.
Yeah,
Right.
something quick.
Yep, something like that. And I
Reach
think
out to
that's
Melissa.
all I have. So I guess, thank you, Jordan, for attending. We appreciate it very much. Glad to get your input on things. And okay, then I guess we could have a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Second,
Barbara, I.
Melissa, I.
And Steve, aye.
Okay. All right, thanks, Steve. I hope you feel better.
Thank you guys. Have a
Okay.
great day.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
thank you. Bye.